kei te mō Wai Au runga, kei te mō Wai Au raro, kei te ora matapupuni, kei te tū tapawai, kei te rongo tapawai. Ngaua e ngā pia, ngaua e ngā tauira, ngaua e ngā pūkinga. Rukitea te ato o te whakairo, rukitea te ato o te wānanga, rukitea te ato o te wharekura, whano, whana, haere maitutoki, haumi e, hui e, taiki. Kia ora, brothers. I've got dirt here because it's not working on there. Ko Wai Au. Ko rangi uru te maunga, ko kai tonu te awa. Ko te arawa te waka, ko tapu ika te iwi, ko Ngāti Mariku kere te hapu. Ko te pāmu te marae, ko hiniwoti te whare kai to te, ko tea te whare tūpuna. Tika mauri ora. Wai Au, ko Matthew Gentamoko Gray. I was born in 1976 at Lower Hutt Hospital on Christmas Day at around 7 o'clock at night. My mum was sitting down to have her hangi, and no, she was having me instead. I am one of 5 children. The youngest, I'm the baby. There's about a 17-year gap between me and the eldest. When I was born, my mother and father had separated before I came into this world. So it was just my mum and I at home. I lived in Pomare in the Hutt Valley till I was about 6 years old. And then I moved to Woburn, just on the Hutt Valley for about a year, then over to Waiwhitu for another year. Then we moved into Taita when I was around 9 years old. And through all that, those younger years, I was a little tickle, the usual thief and just out, the lights will come on and I'm still out and get home, muddy as, doing things I shouldn't have been doing. But yeah, we moved to Taita. I kind of started moving away from that sort of stuff, and I got into music when I went to Taita Intermediate. Jumped on the drum kit, didn't even know how to play it, but just played. It was just typical Māori boy having a tutu and just had it. So I'd done that right through intermediate. Then I went over to Taita College, where I was playing footy, playing league and rugby, played for the schools, second 15, first 15s, schoolboys in the morning. And then I ended up getting into a band. And it was a 3-piece band, a rock band, comprised of Aaron Tukana on guitar, John Tiaki on bass, and myself on the drums. We had done quite a few lunchtime concerts all around the Hutt Valley, Wellington, at schools. We'd go to schools and just perform and things like that. And then we entered the Smoke Free Rock Quest in 1990, 91 and 92 and 93. We entered the Rock Quest in 92. We made it to the national finals, which was down in Christchurch. So everyone from the Mutu down in Christchurch, and had the big national finals down there. While I was there, I actually met the Cora brothers. They were a real funk band back then. They were just young. They were 16. We were all 16, 17, around that age, even younger. And got to know them. When I was in Wellington, I met Bick Runga. She was at, up here, the college in Panganui. She was the girls' college or something like that. And on my boat. That's all good anyway. I just talk. So there was a Rock Quest, yes. And then when we went to the national finals, we came third and best musicianship. Aaron Tukana got best musicianship for that. And it was quite funny though, because it was a smoke-free rock quest. So everybody didn't smoke, but we all did. But as soon as it finished, you walked out and all the bands were smoking up large durries and whatnot. And because we were joined with another band from Wellington, we had the biggest room in the hotel. So all the bands came to our room that night and we just got on it. We just got pissed, man. And then the next day, none of us slept, hopped on the plane to fly back, drunk as anything. It was fun times. So yeah, and then through all that, I met my high school sweetheart. At age, we were 15. I was 15, she was 14 when we met. And then when I turned 17, we had our son, our first. So, we became a dad pretty young. So like the music, the footy, all that just took a back seat. I had to try to become a dad. At that age, it was pretty hard. I ended up moving out of home, leaving mum, and I moved in with the in-laws with my partner at the time, and stayed with them for pretty much the rest of it. And then at 21, we decided to have another child, and we had our daughter. While I was in that time, I had obviously a number of jobs, from furniture removalist, working in a fuel station and things like that, to becoming a furniture manufacturer. So I worked for a company called Debonair Products, who manufactured furniture for the likes of Big Save Furniture, Radfords, all those sorts of places back in the day. This was like early 90s. Things like that. Done that for about 7 years, and then we were living in Petone at the time, and then we decided to move up to Otaki. And so we moved up there. We lived there for about 3-4 years. I think that was when I met the brother Pete. It was in Otaki. And then we decided to make a move to go over to Australia, and so packed up everything, and I took the whānau family over to Australia. That was in 2006. So we went over there. Through all those years, I had a really bad drug addiction, obviously, the weed. I fucking love the weed. Had my first joint at 11 at intermediate. Just behind, I always know where it was, remember where it was, behind the old bike sheds. We used to lock up our bikes and whatnot. This girl, Buffy Crowley, she bought a joint and she goes, "Mate, you want some?" Oh, yeah, I'll try this out. Fuck, I like this. Little didn't I know, my brothers were heavy into it as well. And then, so one thing led to another, and I just got heavier and heavier into the weed. Loved the weed, absolutely loved it. So when I decided to go to Australia, I stopped smoking. It didn't last long. I got a job there. It was in a cabinet making factory, and one of the first boys I met there was a Māori boy. Fucking, he coned up. So we got talking in that, and probably a couple of weeks later, I'm at his place, fucking. And, I was in Brisbane, I was in a new city, I was fucking stoned out of my brain, I just hopped in the car and I'm like, fuck, how the fuck do I get out of here? Because there was no GPS, we had what they call a referedex, which was a book, which was a map. It was the actual book. Like you had to go to page 8, and then it will say go to page 147, go to page 147, and you had to flip all the way through just to get from one to the other. Well, anyway, I don't remember the drive, as you do, but I made it home. And anyway, I carried on again, just because I had started getting the hookups and whatnot, and kept doing that. I was cabinet making for about a year. Then I moved over to fitting out motorhomes. So like buses would come in, coasters and things like that, and they'll gut it out. I'll go in and I'll build the kitchen, the beds, the shower, all of that, install it into there. And then I hooked up with a guy there, and we started taking a lot of speed because it was how can you put it? The job was very demanding. It was a very demanding job. And, we were doing 16-hour stints and 20-hour stints and things like that. So got heavy into the speed. And it was good because I didn't pay for it. So, it was just given. So I just took it. Anyway, from there, I'd done a couple of other little jobs. I worked at a painting manufacturer's with my father-in-law, Wally. He was what do you call them? A chemist, within that sort of industry. So I needed work, so he took me into the factory, and I worked there for about 2 years, making exterior and interior paints. Got fucking high, man, of the fumes. You got a big vat, you pour in xylene, xylene into it, and the fumes are just coming up, and not wearing any respirators or anything like that. No such thing. Or the forklift, no ticket, fucking hooning around on the forklift, as you do. I know how to operate it, don't need a ticket. But yeah, there were some fun times there, and the alcohol was heavy too, especially after all the fumes that you're ingesting every day. And then from there I went and worked at a place called Tile Wizards as a sales consultant, selling tiles, flooring tiles, things like that. While I was there, I met a guy named Chris Fiddock. Now, him and I decided, hey, let's go on the tools. Let's go out and work on the tools. So we decided to form a company. And him and I formed this company. See, he was a vinyl layer, carpet layer, and I was a tiler. So we decided to join. And we got quite a few, at the start, we just started with a drill and a tile cutter. That's all we had when we started off. Halfway through, we had 2 trucks, the trailer with all the gears. We had gotten all the gears, big grinders, floor grinders and everything like that. And we had at the peak of it, we had about 12 employees. 6 were fully qualified and 6 were apprentices. I looked after the apprentices, and my business partner, he looked after the other boys and whatnot. We got quite a few big projects, which took us all around the east coast of Australia, right up and down, like refitting out shops. There was a big contract that we got. There was the reject shop called the Reject Shop. We refitted all of them out, so got paid to travel and see Australia. Downside was I was away from home. That was a bit of a downside. I always wanted to be a good family man, a good father. Hence, I grew up without a father. My father wasn't there when I was born. He was around. He needed to pop in, but I always didn't want that for my children. So going out and working was a little hard, but by that stage they were a lot older too. So I'd done that for about 12 years, and then I just got hoha with it. It just all built up, just the stress, the pressure and everything. So I decided to pull away, and I ended up going to Bunnings, working for Bunnings in Australia, just on the floor, because I thought, take my expertise and help others. And that was fun, while it lasted. But unknowing to me, the trauma and the mental health from everything had built up, and while I was there, I got injuries. I got physical injuries, shoulders, bursitis in the shoulders and that. So I got cortisone injections, 3 in one, 2 in the other. And I couldn't do things like play the guitar, play the drums, go and play golf, things I enjoyed. So that took a toll. So I'd just go home and get stoned. All I wanted to do after work was just go home and get stoned, because that was my getaway place. It was always my getaway place. Didn't realise it. And then because of that, all that trauma and mental health and pain, it affected my marriage quite big. My wife, we got married when we were 26, 27, and we had been married for nearly 20 years. She had to put up with a lot, and I do understand that, because I wouldn't have been the easiest. But the mental health definitely played a big part in my divorce. And then I returned back here to Aotearoa in 2024. To be honest, my children threw me on the plane. They bought me a ticket, said, "Dad, go home." Unbeknownst to me, they were liaising and having cordial with whānau here, Pete and that. And they said, well, they knew, it was the best thing for me. At the time, obviously, I didn't want to go. I've got my children there. I have moko as well. I've got 5 moko. They're all over in Australia, and I tried my best not to. But when I eventually did, it was the best thing that I had done. Was to come back home, to reconnect. When I first got here, I went on to a tānei order, which Pete was running alongside Koro. And that really helped me start to reconnect, start to ground myself again. I was living a life that I was conditioned to live, and not what I was supposed to live. And so going on tānei order with the whānau order group and things like that, that brought me back, pretty much back to earth. I was still smoking, still drinking. When I was floor laying, I became a very heavy drinker, very heavy, because when you're working away, you would go to mahi, then get on the piss. Go to mahi, get on the piss. It's like with the army, same sort of deal. And when you got your own company, you're pretty cashed up too. So cash was nothing. Blew a lot of money, as you do. It's just all part of it. It's the experience. But I came back here. I was back for about 6 months, I think it was. In that 6 months, I started my whakaido as well with Mecca. That was in 24. And then I went back to Australia, and I flew over with Nako's brother, Jonty. He went on his journey over to Australia, and him and I flew back around Christmas time. Hence my birthday. Went back to have my birthday with my whānau. And then I flew down to Tasmania, which is where my son lives. He bought some land down there, about 5 acres, in a place called Beaconsfield, which is in between Launceston and Devonport. So it's at the top of Tasmania. And it's an old gold mine town. I don't know if you remember, I think it was 2000 and something, some miners got trapped in there, and a few of them died. So they actually closed off the mine. They flooded it and closed it off. Apparently there was like 6 million pounds worth of gold that had been taken out of that mine. Yeah, so that whole area is just full of gold underneath. Well, anyway, went down because he had put up a shed on his land, on his bit of land, and he wanted to build it and go fully off-grid. So I went down to help him build. I'm pretty good with the friends and things like that. So I stayed there for about 8 months. In that time, still on the weed, still drinking, still doing all that, and because we could get medicinal cannabis, so it was just delivered, and because I would spin, so I'll get the ex up in Brisbane. She could get like 100 grams for $25 of tobacco, so we'd get it shipped down to us, So yeah, we had all of that. I was working at Bunnings down there, just doing part time, and also working on my son's house. From there, I came back home and and got back into my whakairo. Again, absolutely love whakairo. It's just a place for me to get away now. I've been off the weed since I've been back again. Don't feel like it, don't want it. I'm still vaping. It's something that I don't want to give up just yet, because I do enjoy it. I find that I do, if I want to do something, I've got the will to be able to do it, the willpower. So, I don't want to give up just for the money. I don't want, I know my health is bad. We all have our problems health-wise, but I'm enjoying myself. So, I cut down on my alcohol consumption, still have my matatini once a week, in my van, guitar going, music going, trying to sing like bloody Stan Walker, full air, pissed ass, think I am, by that stage. And yeah, I've still got a really good, strong relationship with my children. I try to speak to them at least once a week, catch up with them. My moko, you can do the video chats and things like that. So I still keep in contact that way. I do have plans on going over Christmas, going for my birthday, to spend it with them. My father is he's pretty much on his deathbed, but he's lived a good life. He's lived a full life, and it's very different for me and my brothers and sisters this time round. Our mum, when she passed, it was sudden. It was a sudden death, and that was like 28 years ago. So, but with Dad, he's in a rest home at the moment, and my sister is a caregiver there. So he's got, the best care that we could ever want for him. But he has dementia. It's full on, and it's pretty bad at the moment. Koro, his dad, died of dementia as well. A couple of his brothers died of dementia, so it's pretty much hereditary. It could happen to me, might not. If it does, I'll be probably doing that. I'll be forgetting anyways. But it's we're preparing for that. It has been very difficult leaving my family behind, but I know that I needed to do this, to do it, to go on this journey in order to be a better father, a better koro, and a better person. If I was still over there, I believe I would still have all the trauma, and I'll still be going through the mental health. I did try to go through mental health over there. It obviously didn't work. All they done was just give me pills, give me pills, give me pills, give me pills. So, when I come here, especially into a space like this, a safe space like this, this is worth more than any pills could ever give. Just to be able to be vulnerable and speak, like it's called Wai Au. It's just being vulnerable and speaking out. Because I held on to so much trauma for so long, and there was no need for it. There was no need. I was brought up. We are brought up in a society where you just man up, that's not how it should be. I'm sure our tūpuna did not do that, you know. So why are we doing it? Conditioning, is it? You know, colonisation, is it? Who knows? But at least we're doing something about it, you know. And we have mātua and that, you know, people like Pete, Koro Tingararu, Te Urirangi, you know, tāne like that are making a presence, you know, making it out there, voicing it, you know, instead of us just manning up and voicing things out for us to be able to cope and help. You know, going to te kaya kuringa, you know, things like that. So yeah, that's my story. I'm going to sing a little waiata that my whānau and that we sing when we get together. It's pretty much the only waiata that we all know when we're all together. And it's not too tena mai ngā iwi either. So this waiata we all learned when we went to Taita College. And yeah, it's a nice waiata. I did have it up, but I'll just sing it anyway. Nō reira, kāti hake ko tai mai, huri noa, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
My brother, nice.